Alright, g'day everyone. I thought I would just take some time to show you guys how to create a monster within Realmworks and Hero Lab if you basically don't have that monster entry in an actual Hero Lab file. So obviously through the SRD and through the community pack we do have access to all the Monster Manual monsters. They're all available. But you know, let's say you went out and bought the Tomb of Beasts. Um, how would you go about adding in one of the monsters from the Tomb of Beasts into the system? And the good news is it's quite simple. So just going to swap over to Realmworks now. You can see over here I've already got the PDF available that came with the Kickstarter. Absolutely amazing book for anyone that doesn't have it. And over here I do have Realmworks up and running. So the first thing we're going to do once we're in is go over to our mechanics reference. For anyone who's watched my previous videos, you'll know that I like to set my monsters up down here under the dangers section. I've got my monster manual, but I'm going to shut that down for now. And we're going to go down here and find the Tome of Beasts. Alright, so we're going to set up a ghoul. He's going to be a beggar. You can see I've already come through and created the names of all of the monsters in the books. That is super simple to do. Just as an example, you can right click on the top topic, go create contained article, set what type of article it is. In this case it's a danger, it's a monster and enemy. I'll usually set the name. What do we call this one? I usually call it a beggar, ghoul. You know, in text you wouldn't really see it, ghoul dash beggar. And down here in the other, this is a really handy tip. This is where I put my plurals. So Hero Labs doesn't automatically pick up all plurals. It does pick up some of them. But here I would type beggar ghouls. So if there was multiple, it would reference it. And just so you're aware, if the text does contain a comma, then an S, it will pick that up. If it's just got that in the entry as the name, so it will recognize that, but it will not recognize with just an S on the end, which is how I've seen most of the official modules handle plurals. So I recommend always creating another entry for the plural option. So that's how you do. You just basically click create and that will create it down here. Why do it? Because I've already got it. Alright, so beggar ghoul. You can see here, by the way, that you can see the plural option here. That is just a link to this option here. One is the same as the other. This is the master entry and this is just a child of that that links directly back. Alright, so now we're here, we've got our content. We can click edit and come into our options. First thing I always like to put is a picture, just in case my players want to see what this is. You can copy images straight from your clipboard, which I really love. That's super quick and efficient. It doesn't always work, as you can tell there. That's kind of cropped some of the image out, so I don't like that. We're going to get rid of that, and what we're going to do is we're going to come into our options. I'm just going to browse over to where I've got this saved. Where are you? Your Tomb of Beasts. What have we got? No, doesn't like it. They might not have provided this picture. So anyone who was on the Kickstarter would have received a zip file with all of these pictures, which is obviously super handy for anyone who's doing what I'm doing now and trying to fill in these tools. It doesn't look like the ghouls are actually on it. There we are, ghoul beggar. Cool, and you can see that that's a much higher quality picture. I always like to label things properly, simply because if you open it up in a tab, this is what you're going to see. I always put the pick at the end of the name so that my tab has pick in it. That way I know I'm looking at the picture if I click it blindly and I'm not clicking on the statistic tab. So there we go. One thing you can do is you can come in here and basically copy all of your text. I'm actually going to do a Control-Alt-V, which lets me bring up things in a single paragraph. And then I just come through and I put the enters in. For anyone who's copied and pasted out of PDFs previously, you'll note that usually you get a break line at the end of every line, and Control-Alt-V lets you obviously remove that, and it's a lot more efficient to just come back in and put the paragraphs in. In this case here, you can see that this is actually broken off into a little bit of sort of readable text. So I'm actually going to press Control-Enter at the end of this line here. That breaks it into a different snippet section. And I'm going to come in here and set that snippet style as a read aloud, so it just makes it sort of stand out. And then I'm going to press Control-B to make that bold, with it and approved. So I'm going to come in here, Control-Enter, and again I'll do Control-B to make that bold. And you can see that that's really super simple to actually set things into different snippets. And the real big benefit there is what you're actually doing is just separating the information that you could actually make visible to your players should you at a later point of time to use the player view. So I could, click that there, and then that there would become visible to my players if they were in their player view. And that could be a really cool thing. They've come across the beggar. They don't need to necessarily know all of the information, but you can actually just present them with a little bit of snippets that they find out as they go. Alright, so with that in mind, we've pretty much got the nuts and bolts of what the character is. Now obviously we need the statistics. So we'll come down here, we're going to go add a snippet, we'll go below, we're going to go Hero Lab Portfolio. I'll grab my name, and I always call it stats, that's just my naming convention. It's short, sharp and shiny. I'm going to click the plus button, save the topic. You can see here it's already starting to pick up some links. I will create some links to goals for the sake of it. I'll just create all. There we go. Hero Labs automatically opens automatically. I'll load up the 5th edition SRD. I do have another version there, just ignore that. That's because I work on the community pack. Alright, here we go. So we're going to basically create our a beggar ghoul. He's a non-player character. We're going to pick the ability scores, and he's an enemy of the party. He doesn't need access to all of these other books and other options. You could enable them, and I'll click OK. I'll just make this fit. There we go. Alright, so I don't have this guy in Hero Labs. It doesn't exist. I've got a standard ghoul, which is fine, but it's not what I'm after. What I really want to do is I want to create this variation. So what I'm going to use is the custom monster. Bingo. Alright, so here we are. We've got the beggar ghoul coming through. He's a beggar ghoul. And now we just basically go through. Make this a bit bigger, easier to work with. Alright, so my alignment is going to be chaotic evil. I usually come through and do my abilities next, so 10, 15, 10, 12, 11, and 14. The reason why is that obviously sets everything else. So now I want to make sure my armor class matches 12, which it does, so it's automatically figured that out. My hit points, 3d8, so I've got 3 dice. I'm rolling d8, which is based on size, so it's a medium undead. Probably won't have anything here that I need. It basically spits out as a 13 health. You can see here that the Hero Lab is smart enough to match the amount of hit points that it should have, but if it didn't match, you could just basically increase the health or decrease it. It's up to you. And alright, we've got a speed of 30 feet. 30 feet by default is just movement speed. You can see you can add different type of speeds there quite easily. He's got 2 hands. That can be important for any sort of character that's basically wielding weapons. If you don't have hands and you try to equip more weapons than you have hands, it's going to spit out an error, which is a good thing. Alright, damage immunities. What do we got? We got poison. Condition immunities. Charmed, exhausted, and poisoned. He's got dark vision. So we'll come down here to sensors. We've got dark vision. You can see I can add all sorts of different options here. We're going to set that to 60 feet. He's got a passive perception of 10, which you don't actually need to do. That's going to automatically calculate. He knows the undercommon language. Undercommon. He's got a challenge rating of half. There we go. So that'll set the XP automatically. Alright, now we've set basically most of the default abilities. Now we have to come in here and add the special abilities. So this guy's got pack tactics. I'm going to come down here to other race abilities. And I'm basically going to copy it in. This is why it really pays to have high quality PDFs. Wizards, if you ever watch this, PDFs would be amazing. Don't want to steal your content. I want to buy it. I want to use it. So pack tactics, where do I want this to appear? It's a special rule. So we're going to put that in special rules. I don't need to set any other options for this one here. And boom. And what that does is over here in the special tab, you can now see pack tactics now exists. So that's really handy. We'll come back over to the race tab. We now need to do Savage Hunter. I'll put Savage Hunter in. This is again a special rule. Just get rid of the break lines. Alright, so that doesn't require any other options either. Then we'll come over here and it's got actions. So it's got bite. So that'll be a natural attacker bite. So we'll add that. It's got all the natural attacks that are in the player handbook here that you can basically mimic and copy. It's a melee weapon attack. It's doing +4 to hit. +2. It's probably fighting on dexterity. Alright, so we'll make that. Oh no, that was right. Sorry, +4 bite. Reach of 5 feet. I think that's the default. Oh, there we go. No, I don't know. It's doing 2d6 plus 2 damage. So 2d6 plus 2 piercing damage, and that matches up the statistics exactly. If there's any other hit packs, I could do them here. But now we'll put the claws in. There's the claws. Let's just check that. Claws, it's only got a +2, so we'll swap that over to dexterity. That makes it +4. One target, hitting on 2d4 plus 2. 2d4 plus 2. That matches 7 slashing damage. That is slashing, it's already got it. And then we go, if the creature is other than an elf or undead, it must succeed on a DC 10 Constitution saving throw or be paralyzed for 1 minute. There we go, so we'll paste that in. Alright, and now we have claw, and you can see here that the descriptions come in and it's carried that over. But it does have a DC 10 Constitution saving throw. Oh, that's damage. Doesn't look like we actually need to do saving throws on this one. So that's fine. Just got text there, no problems. That's that guy done. Obviously, you know, you can add a lot of things into the custom monster. You could add your innate casting abilities. You could make him an actual caster from a specific school. Set their spell casting abilities, set all your saving throws, proficiencies, vulnerabilities, pretty much everything. you've got different actions that it recognizes from being in there. It's a really powerful functionality. And when Lone Wolf added this into Hero Labs 5th edition, I was ecstatic, because this really meant that I didn't have to create monsters through the editor anymore. So for anyone that wants to see it, you can basically edit or create things in the editor. And you can set them up, and this makes them permanently available on the tool. So this is an option, and this is incredibly powerful, but it does require a level of technical knowledge on how to really use it. You can go into full scripting abilities through this tool and set things up in a really, really detailed manner. For some people, it's a little bit overwhelming. I'm personally a member of the 5th edition community pack team, so I have spent a lot of time in here, and I'm quite comfortable. But with that said, since the addition of the custom monster ability, I haven't really felt we need to keep adding more monsters in here. It is quite simple just to do it this way. And if you're using Realmworks, which I am, you only need to add that monster once, and then you've got access to that monster forever. So that's a really cool functionality, in my opinion. I'm just going to go through here. He doesn't obviously need any armor or any weapons or anything like that, but what I do want to set is his picture. And I want to set his picture, obviously, so that it looks really cool when I'm using him at the table. There he is. I'm just going to drag that over. Whoa. That didn't really work. Let's just try that again. No, it doesn't like that at all. Alright, so what I'm going to do there, and you will notice that sometimes the pictures and the transparency doesn't necessarily work the way you think it should. The tool's trying to be smarter than, well, it's trying to be intelligent, right? And pick up the fact that there's transparency on this sheet, I imagine. So I'm just going to just do a manual hack. Oh, I don't know where that went. Usually I don't have to do this, but it certainly can work in your favor. D&D pictures, Goldbeggar. Go as a JPEG, keep it nice and small. And there we go, transparency's just been removed. And obviously that's just a quick way just to fix up any issues that you might have with transparencies. I'm just trying to bring him over from a different option here. There he is. Alright, there we go. So that's now displaying a lot better, obviously. The transparency is not getting in the way. Click other, and that's it. We're gonna save that now. Save our options, and boom. Realmworks has figured out automatically that we've fixed or finished editing, and it's saved that option. And now, just to show you how it can work, we'll go back to our World Almanac. We'll open Hero Labs, preparing for our game. Come in here and get my party. Alright, so I've got my party file up, and now in Realmworks, let's say the Pirates Cove, let's say it has a Beggar Ghoul. Lies at the entrance. Ignore that link. There we go. You can see it's automatically picked that up. I can create the link, save it, and there we go. I would do that in my preparation, you know, or you could do it on the spot if you wanted. If you knew the name of a monster, you could quite easily type it in and bring it up. Here's my information. One thing I'll just quickly state is when you click edit, you can press Control Shift. I think it's colon. This little symbol here. If you press Control Shift that one, it basically remove all empty sections and empty snippets in this box, and that just cleans it up. And that's a really good tip for anyone who's OCD. One of the biggest problems we have with Realmworks is that people want to fill in everything and just keep building on things, and I fully get that and understand that. So yeah, Control Shift and that little squiggy button, and that will get rid of everything, and you'll feel a lot better about it. But let's say you're playing it, you know, you can send your photo off to the player screen. You can let your players know that, hey guys, you've just come across one of these things. You can see that transparency's turned it black again. And this is what you're fighting. And that's cool. You could basically turn around and read them a bit of your fluff text, you know, if you wanted to. Or, you know, you just go straight into combat. You press your button, you integrate a Beggar Golem into your combat. Open up your tactical console and roll initiative, and off we go. Beggar Gole's in combat. He's rolled really badly, and see what he can do. So yeah, that's how hard it is to make a completely custom monster, allowing you to basically bring in anything from any of the PDFs you may have purchased from, you know, dmsguild.com, or maybe a homebrew option, or maybe you're like me and you just follow too many Kickstarters. It adds a little bit of flavour to your games. It keeps your players completely on their toes. It's simple and it's easy. So yeah, that's how you do it. I seriously recommend you check out Realmworks and Hero Labs. Have a good night.